Good morning, everybody, and thanks, Aman, for the beautiful presentation. You asked one interesting question: why integrators they are not buying feed from the commercial feed manufacturers? The answer is commercial feed manufacturers has got a commercial angle. The performance of broiler, the expectation is different from the different people. Some expect a good FCR, some expects least cost of production or least feed cost per kg of chicken produced. That is the most economic trait. So this balancing we found it difficult because I also have integration of around 10 lakh chicks per month placement in Pune region. If you look at the density of the feed which the commercial manufacturers are giving or supplying and what feed we are producing at our feed mill for our integration, it's very wide gap, you know. If you look at the lysine content of the feed, what commercial broilers they are producing, in pre-starter we may keep 1.32% of the lysine, whereas commercials, feed manufacturers, they are putting only 1.14. So there is a wide gap between the lysine itself, very huge impact on the price of the feed. So it won't be a competitive for them. I have worked in the breeders for so many years, for at least 25 more years, in pure lines, in GPs, and in parents also, broiler parents. And I like to work with breeders and stay with them because it's my passion. You know. So I'm happy to share whatever I got through these 25 years of experience to you, so that expecting that it will help you in your breeding operations. So optimizing broiler breeder performances. So broiler and breeders are the progeny of broilers, you know. So the performance of broilers and breeders, they are both interlinked, because breeders are the father and mothers of the commercial chicks who are placing it. So for example, the performance of breeder nutrition affects the performance of broilers too. For example, the content of calcium, the deficiency of calcium, phosphorus, minerals, protein and energy has a wide impact in commercial broiler chick quality. The vaccination schedule of breeders determines the MAB titers of the commercial broilers. What is the MAB titers? The titers which breeders, their parents, they instill to the commercial broiler chicks. This is very important. Many hatching egg sellers, they skip few vaccines. For example, IBH vaccines. And will find the chicks coming out of such breeders will have a IBH infection in the broilers, which has got a huge economic impact. Same is the case like ND, IBD, IBH and IB also. Nowadays, IB variant is rampant in many areas. If your breeders are not protected or not vaccinated with proper vaccination program, considering the endemic problem you have in your area, the commercial chicks are going to be affected with various problems. Again, fourth is the health status of the breeders, which determines the day-old chick quality. This health status, it contains the vaccine titers also and bacterial infections also, like necrotic enteritis and all of this. If necrotic enteritis is there in breeders, the chicks will be of poor quality, they will be weak, they look dehydrated. So the topic is very lengthy, so both the aspects, broiler chicks performance and breeder chick performance, can be summarized in a short span of 40 minutes, you know, because the breeder cycle is of 68 weeks. And we have to conclude it in 40 minutes. It's a very large subject. Still, I'm trying to summarize it in a proper manner. So performance of broiler breeders has got a lot of economic importance. What is the price of hatchable eggs right now? It's 35 rupees. You know, though the raw material prices are at its historical lowest, as mentioned by Aman, but the DOC prices and hatchable egg prices, they are at historical high. So the balance has shifted, the production cost balance has shifted from raw material cost to chick cost. It has been compensated by the chick cost. Maybe there may be several reasons for that one. Second thing, there are a lot of research being carried out in broiler nutrition. We are continuously updating the broiler nutrition, and the saturation point has come. Because in Pune region, the best FCR we got this season, converted FCR, is 1.25. So how deeply you are involved into broilers? Finally, money comes from there only. So we look at it as as a money machine, and we are deeply involved into the broiler nutrition. We are talking about organic, inorganic trace minerals, vitamins levels, lysine, amino acid ratios. But are you serious about breeders? So how many of us were handling the breeders here? So this, I think this presentation will be helpful for them. So my presentation is focused on optimizing broiler breeder performances. You see, broiler breeders is a totally different concept. Unlike layers and broilers, what is the difference between layers and broilers? Layer broilers and breeders. The basic concept is, if something goes wrong nutritionally in broilers and layers, the birds adjust themselves by consuming either less feed or more feed. How the FCR of layer affects the performance? What is the contributing factor for FCR in layer? If you give some less quantity, less of energy in layer feeds, the layer will consume more feed and to compensate the energy. So they used to get adjust very quickly. Same is the case with broilers. If some dense feed is there, they will eat less and their FCR will be more. If density of the feed is less, then the broilers will consume more. And now tell me, what is the difference between broiler breeder and broiler breeders? Broiler layers and broiler breeders? Because we are restricting breeders a feed quantum. We are following manual, you know. In manual, there are feed standards given, 140 gram, 150 gram, 160 gram. So it is very important to be precise in broiler breeders. Because they have no scope, they have no alternative to adjust themselves by eating more or reducing less. So whatever you feed to them, if you feed 200 grams to them, they will eat it. But are restricting them because we don't want the body weights to shoot up. If body weights they shoot up, the fat will go up and the performance will come down. The precise feeding in broiler breeders is utmost of important. So we got a manual which is a guideline for us and we all follow them. So body weight we follow as per the manual, but manual doesn't tell how to handle the problematic flux. If the body weight is more than 200 than the standard, what should you do? If body weights are 100 gram less than the standard, as mentioned in the manual, what to do? It is interesting that if you consider 6 weeks of broiler, the body weights of 6 week broiler female or male or you can say straight run, it is around 1.8 kg. And we have to maintain the breeders of 6 week pullet of 600 gram. So the breed is same, it is a broiler, genetics is same. We have to control them at 600 gram, and which is very important. So in broiler breeders, to perform is to get a maximum, optimize the performance, it is the body weight control is very important. And it is evident that the overweight and not the underweight pullets are usually a problem during the growing period of the broiler breeders. So overweight pullets in the growing period, the feed should not be actually reduced, but we can hold them to the standard body weight until it achieves that curve, body weight curve. One more important thing, there are several, from day 1 to 20 weeks is a very crucial period of the broiler breeder's life cycle. And in particularly from 16 weeks to 20 weeks is a very, very, very crucial period if you want to get optimum performance from the broiler breeders. This is because a lot of hormonal changes they go on in the body, in the bird during 16 weeks to 20 weeks of birth. So this is the picture. This is very important. You say the experience of broiler breeder is very important than the bookish knowledge or than the manual. This is because you need to be with the birds. You need to condition the bird for laying. You need to condition the bird for laying. So its physical appearance, its condition of the bird, body weight, and you say conditioning of the muscle development or frame development, that is very important, and that can be judged by touching the birds only. By seeing the pictures merely and by calculating how much feed it has consumed, we can't judge the status of the flock. So these are the some pictures how to take the conformation of the bird. This is breast meat conformation. This is the angle of the breast meat. This is a picture of a 10-week pullet, how it should look, what should, how should be the framework of the 10th week birds. And this is how should be the fleshing at 16 weeks of the bird. You see the comparison of the angle, the breast angle, at 10 weeks, at 16 weeks, and at 20 weeks. So noticing practically these changes are very critical of judging what is the conditioning of your flock, condition of your flock. So by seeing this one, we are ensuring that pullet should attain mature pullet weight. Attaining mature pullet weight is not a big art, you know. It is not a big art. But attaining proper weight with proper fleshing, that is very important. If your broiler breeders are 200 grams below standard at the age of 16 weeks, within a week we can attain the standard body weight by feeding the birds more. But that is not what we want. We don't want the mature pullet weight, but we want a mature pullet weight with good amount of flesh. In this case, we have to gradually increase the feed. Gradually, the feed increment should be gradual. Because suppose at 16 weeks, the standard feed quantum is 50 grams. And if your body weights are 100 grams less than standard, from 50 grams, we can give 80 grams of feed. We can, if you give, the body weight will come to the standard. But 15 to 80 grams, 30 grams of jump on a single day for a week period is not recommended. Body weight should be gradual one. It should be gradual one. And unless and until there are several factors, you know, photosensitization is there, environmental conditions are there for optimizing broiler performance and for maturation of the bird. So, but this light stimulation, when you go, the photosensitization we give for light stimulation, it should not be practiced until and until you achieve mature pullet weight plus mature fleshing plus reasonable amount of fat also. That fat should be judged. We should judge that. This is the correct amount of fat before light stimulation. So I have to periodically judge the amount of fat it is depositing in the pullet's body. So this is the amount of fat. You look at the pelvic girdle, that this one, the amount of fat that arrow shows you. So by merely looking at the body weights, we should not stimulate the birds. Photosensitization should not be stimulated. We'll move on to the next topic, which very few know and very few practice. The energy requirement of the breeders. So those who understand the energy requirement of the breeders at various ages, you know, they will be successfully getting the production, they will get successfully the production out of the breeders, any breeders. So there are two major ingredients, this is energy and protein. These two nutrients are very important. While protein requirements have been often the major consideration of the most producers, it is the energy where the people give less onus to it and they understand it less. It is the energy, the most costly dietary nutrient, which has the most influence on performance. It is not the protein. Many breeders are so sensitive that they don't want individuals to change their nutritional formula to the breeders. I don't know, they are very conservative. So since last 2-3 years, the same formula is being implemented to the breeders. So mean period, the breed has upgraded, breed has been upgraded. Still their recommendation and specifications are same. So we have to come out of it. We need to understand the bird, its requirement first. Unless and until we understand the requirement of the bird, we can't get the optimum performance out of them. This chart is very interesting, you see. This influence of energy and protein intake on the performance parameters of the broiler breeders. If you look at carefully to this chart, it has been given the energy consumption kilocalorie per day through 60 weeks. And you see how much hen house egg production it has got. The birds which consume 449 kilocalorie of energy has got 157.5 eggs, hatchable eggs, at the age of 60 weeks. And if you look at the 270 kilocalorie, the birds or flocks which could consume 270 kilocalories, they have got minimum hen house egg production. Look at the egg weight also. The group which contains highest energy has the highest egg weight. In next column, I have given the protein per consumption grams per day. And look at the protein consumption in the breeder and its impact on hen house production. If we feed birds 27 gram of protein at 60 weeks of age, look at the hen house production. 16.5, look at the last line, it is 16.5 gram of protein per day consumption. And look at the hen house production, it is 142.1 gram. If you look at energy and protein together, variation in energy consumption, variation in energy consumption has a huge gap between minimum and optimum performance hen house production. Whereas, if you look at the protein consumption per gram per bird per day, it has got minimum variation. The point is, I am underlying the importance of energy consumption and energy requirement in breeders, which is very important. And one who understands this can get production from any bird, from any breed, at any condition. So what is the energy? It is fire of life. Energy is fire of life. It requires for different activities for birds. In daytime, what are activities birds carry out? Crowing, moving here and there in the cages, then feather also, maintaining feather color, maintaining the body temperature. So for everything, birds require energy. For egg production and for vital life functions also. This may include a growth component. I am talking during laying period. This may include the growth curve component, but the main consideration is egg mass output. So what we should consider while feeding the birds? The main requirement of energy for the bird for maintenance, and second is egg mass output. These two important factors are there. And which are the factors which influence the energy consumption, energy requirement of the birds? So this is the body size of the bird. Is it important? Environment temperature also influences the requirement of the energy. It is negative and positive both. Birds are comfortable. What is the comfortable climate zone, temperature zone of the bird? It is 18 degree to 28 degrees. Say. So if temperature falls below 18 degree, requirement changes. The requirement of the energy changes differently, and above range. If temperature goes above 28% environment temperature, then energy requirement may be different. Then production, at what status your birds are in the production, growth and egg mass output. These 5 factors. So how to calculate the requirement of the bird during laying period, maintenance requirement and then energy requirement for the production. So there are equations, have been predicted equations are there, which has been Dr. John Summer has calculated these predicted equations, and we will go through it. So these are prediction equations for the requirement of the maintenance energy from day 1 to 20 weeks of age. This is total energy requirement, and the second column is maintenance energy requirement. This is energy requirement for the maintenance and percentage of total energy required for the maintenance. So look at the last line. You see, at 20 weeks of age, whatever energy bird is consuming, 84% of it is used by the bird just to maintain it. Just to maintain. The conclusion of this chart is, if you understand the energy requirement for maintenance, it goes up to 20 weeks of age. So at 20 weeks of age, whatever energy bird is getting out of the feed, Out of it, 84% is being spent over maintaining the bird's body condition only. The above table reveals, what this table reveals, as the bird increases in age, as the birds are increasing in age, as also in size, the maintenance energy requirement increases as a percent of total energy requirement until by the latter part of the growing period, over 80% of the energy consumed is used just to maintain the pullet. So this period, say from 16 weeks to the onset of production, is very, very critical, and the decisions during this period will have a long-term effect on overall production and economics of the breeder farm. Same from 20 weeks to 68 weeks. I have given the energy requirement for maintenance for egg mass production also. Here the column, one more column comes, egg mass, egg mass. What is egg mass? You know what is egg mass? How it is calculated? Egg mass is the percent of the production multiplied by egg weight divided by 100. It is the egg mass. So whatever decisions we need to take during the laying period, they depend on the body weight of the breeder bird, and second thing is the egg mass output we are getting. So these two factors, they decide the energy requirement of the bird during lay. If you look at this chart clearly, very carefully, that you will think that from 32 weeks to 44 weeks, the period from 32 weeks to 42 weeks, look at the energy requirement. It is more or less standard, maintenance requirement. It is 450, 450, 450 and 450. It is very important. Many breeders, they commit mistakes to this point only. From 32 weeks to 44 weeks, the maintenance energy of the birds almost remains same. So it is very important when you take decisions by feed reduction program. When your flock peaks, if your flock is giving 85% production, so how much longer period you hold the feed at same level, and how much time we should, this depends upon the body weight of the bird, again egg mass output. These two things are very important. So generally what mistakes they commit, breeders, is they already have their higher body weights. Suppose 200 to 300 more than the standard, and they become panic that my birds will get heavy. So they start cutting feed when they should not actually. If they are giving 168 gram feed, they think that the production has maintained now, so birds will get heavier. And they start reducing the feed. And that is a major mistake, that is a major mistake all the breeders they do. And what happens, as this table illustrates, from 32 weeks to 44 weeks, the maintenance energy requirement almost same. And at that point, when you are reducing the feed, the birds immediately becomes energy deficient. So this cycle continues. Once birds get energy deficient, we think that the production has come down. Then again we start cutting the feed. This is the vicious cycle, and bird again gets energy deficient and the production drops down. So that decision is very important, how to cut down the feed. So I have to always calculate what is the maintenance energy, what is the production energy requirement, and by calculating by both the methods, we should design our feed reduction program. Many people they ask me, how much peak feed you give? How much peak feed give you to the breeders? This is a wrong question. What you are feeding to the bird, you tell me how much energy you have in your feed. Whether it is 2,700 calories, whether it is 2,800 calories, 2,850 kilocalories. Unless and until you tell me that one, I can't tell you how much peak feed I am given to my breeders. So, breeder, the person who manages the breeder should know about what nutrients birds are getting, that birds are getting. So there should be proper synchronization between the flock managers and nutritionists. They should both together, sit together and decide the feed reduction program. That is the right approach, I think so. So here key points to be noted, maintenance energy requirement is around 80% of the total energy requirement. This decreases noticeably at peak production and continues to peak egg mass when the hen would be partitioning a significant proportion of its energy intake to meet its requirement for egg mass output. This is very important. During this period, feed increments and reduction need to be decided based on the total energy requirement of the hen. This is what I illustrated to you. The common practice is, if your birds are giving 85% of the production and it dropped down to 80, then normal practices reduce the feed by 5 grams, which is a big mistake, I think. Peak egg mass output is not attained until several weeks after peak egg production. This is because the egg weight goes on continuously increasing, though the production drops, egg weight continuously increases. So if you calculate, so both together, the maintenance and production energy, egg mass output energy remains same for several weeks. This is a calculation how the theory of reducing 5 grams for over 5% of production down is wrong. That has been illustrated. And the average egg is 65 grams. To produce a bird of average egg of 65 grams, it requires 140 kilocalorie of energy. If feed allowance is 160 grams per bird per day at peak production, and if diet contains 2800 kilocalorie energy, an intake of 448 kilocalorie energy per bird per day, if 145 kilocalorie are required for the production of one egg, this means that approximately 31% of the hen's energy is going towards egg production this time. Egg mass output at 85% production with 65 gram of egg weight, it is 55.3 gram per hen per day. So at that time, egg mass will be 55.3 gram. If production drops to 80% and egg weight increases by 1 gram, I'm telling you, if production drops to 80%, means from 85 it drops to 80%, and egg weight increases 1 gram, egg mass output would be 52.8 gram. Earlier egg mass output was 55.3, and this time 80% into 1 gram increment of egg weight, the egg mass will be 52.8 gram. So difference of 55.3 and 52.8. This is the reduction in egg mass, So how much percent of egg mass has come down? It is only 4.5%. So there is a 4.5% egg mass drop. And though production is 5% down, the egg mass has gone by 4.5%. Hence the energy required per hen per day for egg mass production should drop, how much percent? 6.3 kilocalorie per bird per day. You are getting me? From 85% production has got down to 80%, but egg weight has increased by 1 gram. So what is the percentage of kilocalorie decrease? It is 6.3 kilocalorie only. Thus, for 4.5% production drop in egg mass output, total dietary energy requirement has only dropped. Dietary energy requirement has dropped down by 1.4% only. Requirement has gone down by, energy requirement has gone down by 1.4% only, and not the 5% that one might estimate from the drop in egg production. So this is a major mistake many breeders they commit. So, decrease in feed intake after peak production has to be precisely calculated, as the hen's requirement is not related directly to the drop in egg mass output. There is a strong possibility that the broiler breeder is deficient in energy intake up to and perhaps beyond peak egg mass production. As already mentioned, any deficiency in energy intake will readily translate into reduced egg numbers or smaller eggs or growth. This is a protein requirement. The energy part is over. Now we are moving to the protein. Little attention is paid to the amount of protein consumed by the hen. So what is the requirement? If I ask you the question, what is the requirement of the protein of the broiler breeder bird at various ages? What is the requirement? So most breeder diets contain between 16 to 18% of protein. So they are very worried about reduction in the protein content of the feed. With variable feed intake during the laying period, daily protein intake obviously varies. Thus, protein intake would range from 25.6 to 28.8 gram per day and in many cases higher. If you are giving 160 gram of feed, a feed containing 60% of 16% of protein and 15% of protein, there is variation in the protein content. Using values generated for commercial layer, here the values for commercial layers have been generated. The protein required to produce a 65 gram of egg containing 7.8 gram of protein should be around, these are all mathematical calculations and assumptions, The protein required to produce a 65 gram of egg containing 7.8 gram of protein should be around 7.8 divided by 0.55. What is this 0.55? This suggested efficiency of dietary protein utilization for egg production. So if we divided that one, it is a requirement to produce a 65 gram of egg is 14.2 gram of protein consumption is required by the bird per day. With estimation of total endogenous loss of nitrogen, including feather loss, to be 280 milligram per kg of body weight to the power 7.5. A 3.5 kg hen is the endogenous loss of nitrogen is 717. If I multiply by nitrogen factor, it is coming to 4.4 gram of protein. So I have calculated by this table, I have calculated how much protein consumption should be there per bird per day for production of 65 gram of egg. You are getting me? How much it requires for maintenance. So these two factors are there. If you combine two cells, it will decide the total protein requirement of the bird. In first example, I have calculated the amount of protein to be consumed by the bird to produce 65 gram of eggs. And the second thing, for maintenance. So for maintenance, it figures comes to 4.48 gram. And if we divide this protein efficiency factor, it comes to 8.15 gram of protein is required to maintain the bird's body. So 8.15 plus egg production plus maintenance, 14.2 gram for egg production and 8.15 for maintenance. It is come to 22.4 gram of protein should be consumed by the bird per day for optimum production. That is the only one. But we observe at the breeder formulations at different farms, the birds are consuming more than 26 gram of protein per day, which is a wastage and which is harmful also. In hindgut, this protein is degradation. For extra protein degradation, birds require to spend more energy also again. So protein requirement will change in that case. And much of this gain will be fat deposition. Over and above this protein, it converts into fat. Not every bird in a flock is laying an egg per day. We have calculated this protein requirement if a bird lays an egg every day. But in breeders, they are not like layers. Every day they are not laying. Every alternate day they are laying almost. Protein required for egg production per day is only the 14.2 gram of protein into production, that is 65 gram of egg. So protein consumption requirement, what we have calculated, it is much less than what we have calculated. If you look at the protein and energy both together, around 80% of the energy consumed is partitioned to meet the hen's requirement for maintenance. That is including weight gain and activity. Approximately 64% of the protein intake of the breeder is going to meet its requirement for egg mass production. But the main factor influencing the protein requirement of broiler breeder is egg mass output, not body maintenance as with energy. It is reverse in the case of protein. It is a contrast to the energy if you consider the protein. I come to the important factor again. For optimizing broiler breeder performance nowadays, because it's a fast growing broiler breeders, and every day it is, every year the performance of commercial is going up. And if you look at the manuals, breeder manuals, if suppose last 2 years back, the cumulative consumption was 52 gram. It is coming to 48 now, 47 now. So day by day these improvements are going up. So this precise feeding as far as energy, protein, and next part comes is a minerals. It's a very important. So minerals are responsible for the bird's health and immunity also. It's the structural integrity of eggshell strength, increased sternum weight. They decide the eggshell strength, and it has got an epigenetic effect also. It will define the chick quality also. And these minerals are there responsible for synthesis of collagen and keratin, collagen and elastin cross linkage. I want to elaborate here what is this collagen means. In broiler and breeder nutrition, maturation of bone is very important. There are two concepts, mineralization of bone and maturation of bone. Both concepts are very different, very different. And what is the middle part of this one is the collagen part is very important. Because if you look at the composition of bone, it is a 70% organic, 20% is a collagen and 10% is the moisture. And what is the work of this, role of this collagen? It brings in the maturation of the bone, not mineralization. If mineralization of bone is proper, this doesn't mean that there is a bone strength is there. So this is the collagen when binds all the mineral together and it brings out the maturation of the bone. Nowadays in fast growing broilers, there are leg problems are coming up. Everybody is complaining about the leg weaknesses and lameness in broilers and breeders also. That's why this mineral is there come to picture very quickly. So importance of in breeder nutrition is a performance efficacy. It is a role of in synthesis of DNA and protein to enhance. It is a cell division role, growth promotion also, and it has got a progeny benefits also in minerals. So whatever you are feeding to the breeders, what minerals you are feeding to the breeders, it is reflected in the commercial broilers. So many people they ask me whether I should go for organic or inorganic. Organic and inorganic minerals. So the advantage of organic and inorganic minerals, both are different, because in inorganic minerals, there are possibilities of heavy metal contamination also. Heavy metal contamination is a possibility in inorganic minerals. Absorption is again a problem. Efficiency is again a problem. And in organic minerals, the absorption is excellent one as compared to inorganic. And overall benefits are more in organic minerals than inorganic minerals. The disadvantage of inorganic minerals, again, there is a mineral antagonism. Antagonism is more. Then bioavailability also less in inorganic. And there are environmental concerns also because there is an excretion of these minerals in the environment and pollution problems. In organic terms, as I mentioned, it is a better absorption and epigenetic benefits. Epigenetic benefits means the birds, breeders, they pass on benefit to their progeny. So progeny will be stronger one. This is what is been given. This is collagen has been mentioned in blue color and ossification is in red color. That's what I demonstrated you. Is a collagen's role is very important. And if you read on collagen, the deposition of collagen, the factors affecting the deposition of collagen, there are a number of factors. So the role of vitamin C is also there for collagen deposition and its work. So here comes the conclusion. The body weight control of breeder hens during rearing and production phase is very important. As body size weight increases, maintenance energy requirement also increases. So designing precise feeding program in relation to the energy requirement of the hen in given condition is key to optimize breeder performance. Is the energy the first limiting nutrient, then protein is important in optimizing broiler breeder performance. And here I will thank you.